Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today I'm here with Kaspar, who is to build, which is called Fincrat. So it is mainly a budgeting app, and I think it is a bit different than the other budgeting apps we have in the market. But let's talk to Kaspar and see how it is different and what they are trying to build, what are their main aim at the end that they want to achieve, and how they also started with it. So welcome, Kaspar, to this episode.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so please tell us what is Fincrat. But maybe before we go into Fincrat, maybe you can tell us about yourself, who you are, what do you do at the moment, and how you decided to get into this invention of this app or development of this app.
Sure. So my name is Kaspar. I'm based in Tallinn, in Estonia.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, I'm also working full-time at Wise
Mm-hmm.
as a head of a KYC function.
Mm-hmm.
I have been working in Wise for around 6.5 years by now.
Okay.
So seen quite a bit when it comes to scaling big operational teams.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we go to about Fincrat, then you mentioned budgeting apps.
Yeah.
But it's we would like to see it as something much more
Okay.
than budgeting apps
Mm-hmm.
are currently doing.
Mm-hmm.
So Fincrat is a app that relieves financial stress
Mm-hmm.
by helping people to break free from paycheck to paycheck cycle
Mm-hmm.
by providing personalized financial roadmaps. So maybe to elaborate what this actually means, right? So there's a huge problem when we look at people and how well they are doing regarding their finances in overall.
Mm-hmm.
So roughly around 46% of people in Europe currently live paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it mean? It means that you get your funds on your payday, and at the end of the month or before your next payday, you're out of funds. You don't really have any savings. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, if something happens, let's say your car breaks down,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know, your washing machine breaks down, you would be looking into kind of your credit card or taking maybe a small personal loan to fix it. So you will fall into debt. So basically, you don't really have any savings, especially you don't even have, let's say, so-called a safety net that helps you out when you suddenly lose a job. So, and if you look from that 46%, roughly, I think it was around 24, if I'm not mistaken, actually are connected to consumer loans.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like population of Europe we're talking about.
Okay.
So it's like regarding Europe, it's a large portion of people.
Okay. Right.
So and in Fincrat, we want to kind of help people to get rid of the financial stress that comes with living paycheck to paycheck cycle, and we want to really open up the data to people themselves.
Mm.
And we believe that nowadays, looking at the current technology that we have, then enhancing those tools and this technology, people really shouldn't be living over there, even if they're not interested in so-called active kind of budgeting themselves, or they're not looking into investment. It just doesn't interest them.
Yeah.
But there's currently no good kind of a product in the market that actually fully solves that problem to customers.
Okay. First of all, yeah, I think you expressed it really well by saying your app would help people to relieve financial stress. So you put it in a very nice word. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, so you mean when you said 24% of population in Europe is using consumer loan to go by their daily expenses or monthly expenses?
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Yes.
Yeah, because consumer loans, again, it's a loan and you have to pay interest on it. So obviously that's not financially stable or responsible as well. But okay, tell me, you said that you guys are trying to do this, but there are already so many other options available in the market. So if you don't mind telling us how it is different in from those apps.
Sure. Mainly the apps that are currently available are different budgeting apps, as you mentioned before as well,
Yeah.
right? And even you have your own bank maybe offering you a kind of a overview of your spendings and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a very narrow look on people's finances and what you can provide on them, in our opinion at least, right? And some of them are very useful and so on, but it needs still a lot of effort from the user itself. And the question is, what do you do with the data? So sure, you get the overview of your spendings, your income and so on. A lot of budgeting apps show you it in a very nicely designed way, so you'll have a good overview. But that doesn't really push you forward to better financial stability. So you get the overview, maybe you will be like, okay, I'm spending over there a lot, I'm going out a lot, I'm eating outside a lot, and my weekends, maybe my spendings grow.
Yeah.
But it's like, it doesn't really provide you, let's say, a personalized roadmap of what actions you should be taking and how to take those actions.
Okay.
And this is something that we want to do. So sure, we will get the input and understanding of your data when it comes to your financial behavior, but then we also will provide you guidelines of what you should be doing in your day-to-day life to make sure that you progress in your financial stability. Meaning, where are your saving points when it comes to or saving areas when it comes to your daily behavior? How to pay off your debt quicker than you usually planned, and so on.
Okay, so if I understand it correctly, you gather all the information and then you tell them, okay, hey, as per our research or our evaluation, these are the pain points and these are the steps you can take to relieve those pain points. But for that, you would have to gather a lot of information from the customer itself.
Exactly.
So if you don't mind me taking through the steps, when I, as a customer or a user, go onto the app or your website, then what are the steps that I have to follow, or what kind of information I have to put in to get that final info from you guys?
Sure. So currently what we have done is that we have launched a prototype. So you go, it's accessible in our website, fincred.com. You go over there and you basically go through a form. You enter a bit of data regarding of who you are. We get some basics about your email and so on. And then you put data in about your spendings, what's your groceries, how much do you spend on transportation, what's your also about income as well. So you go through this form and at the end, once you submit, then we will send you a kind of a FinCred roadmap to your email. It's a PDF format at the moment. So of course this is something that is not really that scalable, and it needs still quite a bit of effort from the user side as well. So what we want to do is obviously make this into an application that you can open up on your mobile or web app, and you can track it online, basically live, with live data as well. But for that we need a lot of data input, as you mentioned as well. So we would be looking into open banking integrations. So by that we will have, if you have a lot of people, me included, have like several different accounts in several different financial institutions. So maybe your savings are in one bank, maybe your daily account is in another, and maybe you use Wise as a payment method or something like that when you're abroad. But with open banking, we would be able to get all of that data into one place, and we could really get a full picture and in understanding of your finances. And by that, we're able to actually give you meaningful roadmaps.
Okay. So at the moment, obviously, I know that you guys are in prototype, testing it out, and collecting more information. But once the app is ready, then all this information will be available on the app and live tracking and maybe notification and all those things happening in the near future.
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned that you want to integrate with the open banking. Like, if you can explain, you did explain, like you can gather more information on the customers' funds or savings, let's just say. But how would that kind of happen in your system? If you can just explain a bit more from the technical point of view.
So this is a good question because currently we are actually looking for a technical person ourselves. So currently there's two founders. It's me and Javier. And Javier is currently fulfilling the technical part that we have done so far.
Mm-hmm.
But we're searching, and luckily we have one very good candidate for it as well. So we hope to onboard him quite soon. But there's a couple of things we need to still clear out. So from the technical point, what we aim to do is, yes, we basically would aim to get the API connection to this open banking system. There are a couple of providers already that have that, but I believe that they currently only cover Europe. So we can't go very, very global at the moment, but I'm sure there's other providers if we're talking US markets and South America and so on.
Okay. And to make that happen, I just want to understand, like, I know, again, you're at a prototype stage, it's going to expand in the next few months, but are you, like, already talking to investors? Are you going that route, or are you just trying to figure it out within your current team of co-founders and this new person that you're talking to?
So currently, we're in the kind of stage where we really need to prove our prototype and prove the method itself. We have already gathered some initial feedback and seems there is a positive impact to people's lives, but we need to a little bit understand more. So currently we haven't really searched out for investors ourselves. We have had VCs that actually reach out to us, and we have done a few different screening calls ourselves. Was it 2 weeks ago now, or last week was the Latitude, where I think Red was present as well, and we went over there, and it was a very good kind of platform where we were able to interact with different VCs, get a kind of feeling from their side as well. But currently we are not yet in a stage where we are actively searching for investors ourselves. But most likely we will be in that stage at the second part of this year, so maybe in autumn. At that time.
So that means if you're, again, it doesn't really matter when you bring in the investor, it does actually. But at the prototype stage, obviously you want to be fully focused on developing the product so you kind of can prove your point and find the right people who align with your future goals as well.
For sure.
Okay, cool. And another thing I wanted to understand here is that once the app is ready, so you're building it for both, you would be building it for both iOS and Android, or are you going to start with?
That would be the aim, yes. I think today it's very hard to kind of do it without it. It's especially if we look at people and people's behavior, is like some people maybe live in the paycheck to paycheck cycle, but they still have the latest iPhone. Which is like, this is of course something maybe that should be addressed, but maybe it's like that one thing that really fulfills their kind of life, or that they really, really want that last model, and this is where they want to spend their money on. It's like, but so in that sense, we really can't. We want to definitely launch it to both iOS and Android.
Okay, cool. Another question I want to ask you is, like, how did you decide? Because guys, let me tell you, like, again, we both work in the same company, and the position that he's working in, like, he is in a very good position where I'm sure he doesn't have to look for an extra income. But I just want to understand his mindset, why you decided to do this, because again, it's a big company that we are working for and very stable job, I would say. I've been with the company for 5 years almost. You have been with 6+ years, so we can see that. But what motivated you to go into doing something which is a struggle, a grind, along with a stable job? Like, what is the mindset?
So maybe it's a bit of how Wise is in general, I would say, because it's a mission-driven company, right?
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons that I joined Wise as well. That I really feel that I'm making a difference, right? And if you look at other companies that have been spinned off from Wise, then we have a lot of awesome companies already in Estonia who have kind of the co-founders of previous employees of Wise or something like that. And it's obviously, it kind of drives the startup mindset, and it really helps you to build up on that. But maybe why it took the challenge itself, it is a grind, and you need to find the time, especially currently I'm doing it from my free time, so-called. So it's someone always kind of suffer. Is it yourself in some way doing late hours? Is it the family, or is it friends, or but usually mostly it's yourself, right? You'll be taking the longer days and weekends and so on. But I guess it's a kind of a wish to make a further impact, and also the problem itself is something that I believe in, that should be and could be solved today. So we don't necessarily need to invent, I don't know, new technology for this. We don't need to go to space or something like that. We already have the technology. We're just not using it to make people's lives better. And also, if I look at, like, let's go 10 years back, and we have now we currently have all of these awesome companies that didn't exist or were at the early stage of the kind of future development of those companies. So it's like, now to the present day, I would say that we could have even a bigger impact to people's lives, like Wise as well. You're able to send money cheaper than you were able to do it 10 years, 13 years ago, right? Thanks to the fees that we have, thanks to the kind of technology that we have, and so on. But the impact to people's lives could be even bigger. Meaning that at the end of the day, at the end of the month, how much have you saved? How much are you better off when you started at the month? So the impact could actually be even bigger. And if we look at people's behavior and the amounts that people have had in their savings account, then one of the biggest thing actually that worked for people was COVID. So people didn't have the opportunity to go out. They didn't have the opportunity to actually, visit foreign countries. So there was a lot of money that ended up in their bank account, and they didn't really use. So this is literally, you can see it very clearly from the European graphs, that this is where the kind of savings amount spiked for people. But now it has fallen into the same kind of area that it was before. So I would say we don't have a good product that really helps people in this way.
Okay, really nice. Again, I think I completely agree with you. And that's the part I like about Estonia, because the companies here provide you an environment where you can actually learn and then focus on solving other little problems that needs to be solved. As I said, it's not a rocket science that we need to work on. The tools are there. You just need to put them together again in a different way, in an innovative way. So it just works more efficiently and it provides more positive results. Okay, I got it. But then you also tell me, like, where do you see yourself in 1 year with this project that you're working on?
Well, that's a very difficult question, right? So a lot of things can happen, a lot of things might not happen. It's the world itself is obviously very interesting and so on. And if we look at the statistics of startups, then obviously no startup is in favor when they start off, basically. You know, the odds are against you, basically. But if I'm looking now in 1 year, then obviously we have launched the app itself. We have good base of users and active customers, even not just users. So with the MVP itself that we want to launch, we are already looking into paying customers, not just users who check it out. So obviously in 1 year, hopefully we'll have already a couple of engineers hired. We have active base of customers and investors that have chipped into this journey itself.
Okay, nice. It's very I think strong plans that you have on your roadmap. But also tell me, as again you are in the early stages, I think why I like talking to entrepreneurs in these stages, because that's the stage where the chances of being successful are very low, but at the same time you are doing maybe the best you could, or you are getting more and more motivated every single day to do your best. But tell me, like, the main struggles in till now you have faced, and very stuck points where you felt like, oh, I don't know, maybe let's just shut it down or something.
Yeah. There's definitely have been a couple of those points and areas as well where it's like maybe you don't want to necessarily quit or like put it down, but it's like you maybe feel like unmotivated, or there's constantly something being thrown at you, and you constantly need to get over it. And there's at the early stage there's no payment involved, so it's like you do it based on motivation, your personal drive, and so on. So maybe a couple of areas where it was maybe the most present was we tested out at the beginning. We wanted to we were discussing how to launch the prototype, what should be really in it, and so on. But we needed to iterate actually between a couple of different platforms and basically understand where could we actually build our prototype and how could we build it. So that took a bit of time for us, and it went up and down. You start something, then you need to shift to something else. You start it over there, and then you need to shift again. So that kind of felt like we're wasting time, and that we don't really are not moving maybe quick enough. But if we actually look at when we now landed on the latest, and when we actually understand, okay, this is where we can build what we want for the prototype itself, then it took us 2 to 3 months to actually push it live, which is kind of good. It's also, and these kind of events actually really boost your motivation when you're seeing that, okay, things are now moving, things are now faster. It's like when you really get into the rhythm, then that's something that really boosts kind of your own personal motivation, I would say. At least it was like that for me.
Okay, nice. And as I'm not sure, like your other co-founder is also working a full-time job and working on this, or?
No, actually Javier is full-time working on Fincrat and doing this day on day and on night.
Right. No, I think it's a good kind of, I don't know, a safety net, because if you're trying to build something, you never know if it's going to work out. So you should have a bit of a safety net where if things take longer or don't work out, at least you have a stable place where you can just go back and then regroup, or let's just say replan and come back again. Okay, and once these struggles, and how do you feel when you get these kinds of obstacles now? Because obviously in the beginning you're more panicky, you need someone to maybe motivate you, but now after some time there comes a stage where it's like, in a month it's going to come a time when I'm going to feel that way. But how do you pull yourself out of that or keep your motivation going?
I think I think a voice has been a really good place for that as well, because you get obstacles everywhere, and being almost 7 years in voice, I've had few of them, let's say.
Yeah.
But how do you kind of I think it's around prioritization, and if you understand that, that really helps you to kind of push forward even if things get hard. Meaning that if something gets in your way, you look at it, you understand. First you really need to question: do I really need to do it? If you don't, or do I need to do it now?
Yeah.
Meaning that it's constantly prioritization of what do you need to do, when do you need to do it, and a little bit how much you need to do it as well. Although all shortcuts might kind of come and bite you in the ass at some point.
Yeah.
But you really need to, at some point, maybe take the shortcut, but you need to always keep in mind that you took the shortcut of something, and you need to mitigate that at later stage. Otherwise, you fall into a great deal of debt, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
And as we want to get out of debt and help people getting out of debt, then that's no debt is good. Even technical debt is good, right?
Yeah, true.
But the prioritization itself helps quite a bit if you understand what you're doing, why you are doing it, and what it unlocks or what it enables you to do. Then I think if you understand the problem, if you understand the obstacle, then that helps you to kind of even push through it.
Okay. I think I should have asked this question first, but how did you come up with this name?
Oh yes, so the name itself, so it's we went through a couple of discussions about what should it be and so on, and we wanted to have a bit of meaning behind it as well. So the company is called FinCrat, and Fin is finance, and Krat is basically a Scandinavian, from Scandinavian mythology. So it's a being that is kind of called into life to help people to kind of gain wealth and money and so on. There's a bit of evil twist over here as well, because if you wanted to bring to life, you need to give 3 drops of blood to the devil itself.
Okay.
But luckily, we have done it for you, so you don't need to do it, and it's a kind of a modernized way of looking at Krat as the being that is brought to life to bring you wealth and fortune.
Very interesting. I have never heard the inception of a name in that manner, but you guys really put a lot of thought behind this. Cool. But again, I think whenever I talk to entrepreneurs, I really want to understand their mindset, how they are staying disciplined. So we did talk about how you're trying to find the right balance with your full-time job and in this project, supporting this project of yours. But I also want to understand, how do you, has your routine changed a bit since you have become or started this project as an entrepreneur? Because when you think or when you see entrepreneurs, they have a completely different discipline, completely different routine. You think they are just trying to understand the entrepreneurial mindset. Did you make any shift in your daily routine in that sense, or become more disciplined to stay focused on this and your other things that you were doing? Because that's just an added task that you added to your life, right? And everything else is still going the same way, but this is an extra work that you... So how did you do that? I really want to understand that.
I think it's true. It is a kind of an added task to your to-do list already, but it needs it needs kind of an understanding, and it needs, if you have a family, then definitely from there and so on. So my partner, helps quite a bit regarding that, and making sure that maybe I have the time to do some of the things, or is understanding about it. So it's But from personal perspective, it sometimes means that you do work on weekends, you do work on this later after working hours at home and so on. But also it means for me sometimes it's actually better to wake up earlier, meaning that you do maybe a couple of hours in the morning before the work daily work even starts, and that really helps as well. But it's also you really need to understand what are you doing, when are you doing it. So like doing it, how do you again prioritize? Maybe actually, and like something that maybe works for me is that if I feel stuck at some point, or if I'm feeling really drained mentally, for example, I really like to go for a run.
Okay.
So to kind of offload myself, get the positive vibe, get the kind of feeling that get a really good run out of myself, then you actually then kind of energize you to really do some stuff on the kind of mental side and development side of your company as well. So it's like you really need to understand and feel yourself of where are you at the moment. It's a tricky thing to do, really. But is it like, because if you push yourself too far, then you obviously will burn out. That's something that you want to avoid. But you really need to understand, when do I push myself? And it goes into daily things, not weekly or monthly things, right? And sometimes you need to pivot during the day itself. It's like, okay, I'll do this in the morning, and I'll do that in the evening, but then you'll have like I don't know, very stressful working day, or a lot of things happening at the work, and then you know that, okay, if I really do this, I'm dead tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So, or you kind of shift you're always in the movement of understanding where you're at. I'm pretty sure it's a bit different when you're doing this full time, and obviously eventually that's the goal for me as well. But it's really, you need to understand what and when is the question.
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted to find out, the main areas that you have to be focused on. And I haven't spoken to many entrepreneurs yet, but still, when you talk to some entrepreneurs or read books, it comes down to taking care of your health, exercising, prioritizing, and then finding the right balance when you need to push yourself and understanding your limit. Because if you go over limit, obviously it's going to backfire. It's not going to help you in the long run. So that's why I want you to understand. Maybe last couple of questions, but the first question is like, what do you like reading? Do you read books, or any books that you can recommend? Or you may, I don't know if any book motivated you again to do this thing.
So I do read. I could read more, to be honest. It's like I have a sister and mother who read like 100 books a year or something like that, or even more. But I'm obviously way behind them. I'm also not very maybe that consistent. So I pick up a book and read it. I don't know if I have a flight somewhere, then I really like to read on flights. But usually those flights maybe aren't long enough to actually finish a book. So it's like, I get the book, I find the interesting book at the airport, I start to read it, read the flights, and then it's like halfway through or something like that. But I always kind of try to bring that same book to another flight then. But maybe one thing that kind of is connected to Thinkrat is there's a book that's called, if I'm not now mistaken, hopefully not, is The Easy Method of How to Quit Smoking.
Okay.
So it's why, right, is the question. So because not understanding your finances and being addicted to consumerism is and really not budgeting, or is a behavior and more like a psychological problem itself. So if you tell someone that, hey, you should budget, you should understand your finances, well, everyone says, yes, I know, but they don't. They don't do it because of some reasons. If you tell someone who is smoking, hey, you should quit smoking, they understand that. Of course, it's not healthy for my my lungs. It's not
Yeah.
healthy for the people who are around me. You know, there's so many different illnesses and diseases that are connected to smoking itself.
Yeah.
And it has a financial impact on my wallet as well, because
Yeah.
there are expensive cigarettes, right? So actually there's a correlation between, you know, managing your funds, understanding, doing budgeting, and the kind of smoking bit. So why that book? That book has actually helped millions of people. I have my friends who actually have read the book, and it really helped them, and they quit actually smoking. So it's kind of an interesting learning curve from there as well, to how to look at the financial side and addiction of consumerism itself. Because, you know, if I tell you you should quit smoking, you might feel that someone is taking something away from you.
Yeah.
If I say you should budget, then that might have a very similar feeling that I can't do now X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Very interesting connection. I don't smoke, so I have never thought about reading that book, but I may now, just to understand this concept in a bit more details. Cool. That was really, really nice and interesting chat. So, guys, I would say I'm going to link the website in the description. Enter your details and then try to get the report. And if there's anything, give feedback to them as well, which will help them to kind of wrinkle out more and make a smoother and a better product. But thank you very much, Kaspar. It was very nice understanding this. And again, the idea for me was to get to know the product, but at the same time understand the entrepreneurial mindset that pushes one to do these hard things, even when everything seems to be going fine for them. So I got a very good few pointers from you. So thank you. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.